On this episode of China Uncensored, do you have straight guy cancer? Hello and welcome to China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. March 8th was International Women's Day, a day dedicated to celebrating women's achievements and bringing attention to gender equality issues. It was also the last day of the two sessions, the annual meeting of the National People's Congress, China's rubber stamp legislature, and the Chinese People Consultative Conference, which has even less power than a dried up ink pad. Together, they make the most boring political meeting on earth. But the two sessions are also when China's domestic security apparatus is on high alert, which may explain why police detained 10 women's rights activists for planning demonstrations against sexual harassment on public transit. The women were planning to hand out stickers and flyers calling for police to arrest men who sexually harass women. Ghastly. Some of the women have now been released, but at least 5 are still in criminal detention for picking quarrels and creating a disturbance. For more on this, we go to China Uncensored's resident women's expert, copy editor Shelley Zhang. Shelley?
Thanks, Chris. I think we can safely say that this International Women's Day was a huge disappointment. I mean, I was expecting at least fireworks or something.
Are you talking about the women's rights activists that were detained?
What? No, Chris. I'm talking about the fact that the Communist Party of China has dropped the ball on celebrating what was originally a communist holiday. The CCP has been celebrating International Women's Day since 1922. But where are the hyped-up military parades? The ridiculous yet incredibly boring propaganda performances? Even North Korea had acrobats dressed up as dancing bears this year. And what did the CCP do? Awkward group photo with Premier Li Keqiang and a bunch of women lawyers.
Okay. What about the women's rights activists? Shouldn't police be doing something to, stop sexual harassment instead of arresting women protesting sexual harassment?
Oh, but they are. Look, even though almost half of young Chinese women say that they've experienced a rise in sexual harassment, the police understand this and they've taken important steps to stop it, like publishing this guide of how women should stop wearing short skirts and also cover their bodies with bags, magazines, and newspapers while on public transportation.
Ah, very appropriate.
Yes, and it completely absolves men from having any control over their own actions.
Well, I know I certainly don't.
But it's also really practical. I started riding the A train dressed like this, and I haven't been sexually harassed in days.
Let's talk about the Baidu controversy.
Yes, netizens were upset at internet search engine Baidu for illustrating their homepage on International Women's Day with a toy jewelry box that showed a girl turning into a ballerina, then a wife, and then a mother surrounded by baby bottles. Meanwhile, Google's homepage showed women as astronauts, judges, scientists, and other non-jewelry box-based careers. But Baidu wasn't alone. The People's Daily also got in hot water for publishing a slightly creepy slideshow of attractive women reporters at the two sessions. But this is my favorite Women's Day celebration in China. Men running an obstacle course in high heels at a mall in Fuzhou. Because nothing says you support gender equality like running a mile in our glittery stilettos. In some ways, Chris, this kind of attitude is not surprising in a country where the wage gap between men and women has more than doubled in the last decade. Women now earn 40% less than men in China. And job postings for women often come with physical attractiveness requirements, like being a certain height, or, for a government job in Hunan, having symmetrical breasts. This is the country where women participated in a swimsuit competition to be flight attendants, where the government mocks urban, educated, unmarried women over the age of 27 by calling them leftovers.
And don't forget the decades of sex-selective abortion.
Yes, women have a lot to celebrate in China. But some people are fighting back against common misogynistic attitudes, after a Chinese scholar said on Weibo that being in love and having babies is the most important thing in women's lives. A new term was born on the Chinese internet, straight guy cancer, or Jinan Ai. Symptoms include conceitedness, chauvinism, homophobia, poor fashion sense, and wife-beating. People have posted lists of men who have been tragically struck by the disease.
Well, Shelley, I just want to assure you that I am completely supportive of women's rights, and in no way do I have straight guy cancer.
Thanks for saying that, Chris, but I'm not really going to believe you until you run down the hall in a pair of these babies.
Oh, look, we're out of time. Thanks for that report, Shelley, and thanks for watching. What do you think of International Women's Day? Leave your comments below, like and subscribe, and check back for more China Uncensored. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. See you next time.